Bottle Cigar Guy here, Travelers Rest, South Carolina, and I got to tell you, I'm going to teach you a Southern word if you didn't know it, one I use all the time. When I want to enjoy something that feels elegant, that feels elevated, that feels fancy, when I want to get top shelf tasty, I'll say it's high on the hog, right? I'm not going to get into why high on the hog is that because we're not going to spend all that time doing that. You don't need all that. But I wanted to smoke something that was going to be delicious, delightful, lovely, was going to make sure that it was going to give me a good quality in construction, that it was going to give me the flavor profile that I wanted, and that I was wanting more of. And this thing right here, oh, let me grab it. I went into the humidor and I was focused on getting me something that was just great and ginormous. I want to smoke for a while. And so this is the one that popped out to me. And now you look at this. This is the Sin Compromiso Paladin de Saca. Right, comes in this neat little dust box. Love it. Usually, it comes in a big, gorgeous green box. But this one is black. The Paladin de Saca. It says it right there. 13, I can't, Parejo 7 by 52. Big boy, but look at this. Now, I hide these. I have these back in the back of the humidor where it's not thinking about it, so that Chief forgets these are here and that I can get me some more. Love how the little band is there, so I don't have to fight to pull out the cigar. I don't want to damage my cigar trying to pull it out, so that little ribbon right there is just fantastic. Look at that right there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Oh. And even, oh, it smells so good. But that right there is, oh. But you know what? I don't smoke the box. I say the box. I got them on the wall over there. I got a pile of them up in the studio, up in the shop, on a shelf, waiting to do something funky with them. I don't know what I'm going to do, but this is right here. Look at how gorgeous that is right there. The presentation, right? Looks great in your humidor, tastes great in your mouth, and it's fantastic with the smoke just fills the room. That little cute little piggy tail, that little twisty piggy tail. Steve calls it something. I forget what it's called, but I don't know. But that band is just, oh, it's amazing. And if you get into that band, this picture, this camera won't do it, but there is like a filigree kind of thing going on in there. It's just, man, I mean, every detail. And here's the thing. The hardest work put in, now I can't speak empirically, which means I can't say for sure, but what I believe, based upon my experience of the Sin Compromiso by Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust, is that the least amount of work was put into the presentation, and there was a ton of work put into the presentation because the construction is paramount, but the blend and the flavors that you get, the combustion, the smoke, the flavors, the finish, the deliciousness, the delightfulness, the loveliness is in that blend. And Steve Saka put his hand all in this thing. Sin Compromiso, without compromise, right there. That's Chris Duque, a good friend of mine. Love me some Uncle. As Chris Duque would say, if you got a sin, sin compromiso. But look at that thing. Look at that thing right there. That is a chocolate bar of deliciousness right there. Look at that. That box press, that soft, boxy box press, that blend. Oh, man, I got to quit talking for a second. Now, I'm going to use my beta cutter. This was given to me by Sake at one of the PCAs, I guess, 2 years ago, and I use it all the time. It's sitting here on my desk. I grab it all the time. I actually cut cigars that are not Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Don't tell Steve Saka, but it cuts everything. The fact that he made this, he got with Cigar Medics and he made this, and the blade is replaceable, but the blade comes from a company that makes, see, this is how smart Saka is. He says, look, where are we going to get a blade that's going to last forever? It's going to be sharp forever. And they came across this company that makes blades for potato chips. Think about it. You're throwing tons of potatoes in this thing, wide open and bored out, just getting it, and it's chopping them up in a neat, nice little, you never found a scraggly edged potato chip, right, where the top is rough and rugged. It's not tearing through, but it's got to cut fast, it's got to cut good, and it's got to cut often. And so we said, well, let's use some of those. And they got these long blades and got them, and they cut them into the right size. When you get this, and I'm not trying to promote this is not a promotion because I'm talking about this. When you this. When you try to when you get one of these, it comes with a spare blade, and it's real easy to replace. I haven't had to replace it, but I put over 1,000 cigars through this thing, and it cuts like a dream. Look at that cut. Look at that cut. Look at that. It's a little cockeyed, but that's me, not the thing. It actually set up where it's got a larger on one side and a smaller on the other side, so it works for both Vitolas. Gets up to a 60 gauge with no problem. Cut a Lancero, easy peasy Japanesey, and let's get a toast on this now. That wrapper is a Mexican San Andreas. It's a Mexican San Andreas. That spicy, that peppery, that fullness, that thing that just wasps between all the other flavors of all the other tobacco that's in there. It just gets it. It's a superstar tobacco, but it plays well with others, so it doesn't take over. You don't get a pepper bomb. You don't get a spicy palooza, but you get enough there to keep you engaged and enjoying what you're smoking. Now, that binder, I've got to look over it at the computer because I've talked so much I forgot what it was. I want to say, well, I don't want to say because I think I'm going to be wrong. I got to toast this thing. Hang on. Let me. I got to pay attention to this. Oh, it's so red. It's so inviting. That orange right there. Oh my gosh. What a moment. I wish you could be here. I'd share one with you. Now, notice I hide these, but I'd share one with you. I wouldn't share my last one, but I got a couple. I'd share one with you. I'd make sure you smoke it, because if you didn't, when you left, I'd have to cut the cap off and put it in my pipe, because I ain't letting that joker go to waste. It's too good of a cigar. But that binder is an Ecuadorian Habano. See, I'm glad I didn't say that because I thought it was something else. The filler, this is where I thought it was. Nicaraguan and that Pennsylvania broadleaf. This is a full flavor cigar, but working with all those full flavor cigars or tobaccos. All right, think of, remember We Are the World, USA for Africa, when all the superstars came and sung that song? You realize that a change can only come. You had so many big egos in there, but nobody was acting bigger than everybody else. Everybody was in there for one purpose and one cause. And these tobaccos are all superstars. But they had that Steve Saka's, that Quincy Jones that comes in with the We Are the World thing. And we're doing something for a bigger cause. It's not about you. It's about us. And this blend is about us. These tobaccos, that Mexican San Andreas, that Ecuadorian Habano, the Nicaraguan and the USA Pennsylvania broadleaf, all of those come together to make a harmony. A delicious, delightful, lovely song. Oh my God, it's so good. I make cigars that make the whole world sing. Right? It just, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but it just makes me want to sing because this is just, oh my gosh. Now, I'm not going to sit here and smoke all this with you. Number one, I'm going to use it for double duty because then you put up my podcast. We do a podcast every Friday at 5 o'clock. I got the Smokes Let's Ride podcast with me, BTCG, and I'm going to be smoking this cigar on the podcast. I am. Why? Because I really wanted to smoke it, and I didn't want to smoke a smaller one. Sometimes I do, but today I just wanted a long moment, and so I'm going to do double duty. When I get off of here, I'll do my podcast. Check it out. We talk about all sorts of things. I don't know what I'm going to talk about because it's unscripted. But anyway, this does not transition. Not that I can really pick up. If you like the first puff, you'll love the last draw. I love that about this cigar. It is going to amp up. It's going to get stronger. As the smoke goes back, it kind of infiltrates the rest of the tobacco. It kind of changes it a little bit, and it just gives you more of that depth, more of that ruddiness, that minerality of the turned earth. A little bit of spiciness cranks up, but it never gets out of hand, never gets out of pocket, never gets out of blend. It just gets out of sight. It's out of this world. It's just, oh my gosh. Now you've got some leathers in there. You've got some dark espresso. Maybe If I get dark espresso, I'm usually going to pull that deep chocolate, that really dark, bitterest chocolate, just kind of in the finish. We're going to get a little black pepper. We're going to get a little turned earth, a little barrel char, a little oaky cedar. And then there's this thing floating around. And if you don't pay attention, if you're just smoking and talking and having a great time, you tilt in the elbow, you just want to smoke a great cigar. You may not dive into and really pull it out. But if you're really trying to dissect the flavors, because sometimes I just want to hang out and smoke a cigar, and sometimes I really want to just be me and the cigar, and I really want to pull every single note I can out of it. And when I'm in that zone, which I am now, I'll pull a sweetness, a toasty sweetness, like the flavor of a hint of the cream in coffee. It's not a super sweetness. And like I said, it's really in the background. But it really pulls out when you really think of it. And then you kind of see how the flavors just blend like gravy as they coat your tongue. The finish is not spicy. The finish is more leathers. A little barrel char. A little stillness. Stillness is interesting. It's really easy to say stillness and fake it. It's one of those things that nobody can. It's like earthiness. It's one of those things that nobody can really pinpoint. But I'm going to pinpoint what stillness is to me. I have a picture in my head. I've never been to this place. I kind of really don't want to go because I don't think it's going to live up to the hype that I put in my head. You ever had those things? I had those things. So this is one of them. Stillness. Think back when fellers were fellers. They were aggressive. They were conquering the world. They were masters of their industry. And they got on safari. And in their big houses, their big mansions, and their big estates, they would have a room. And the walls would be 12 feet, 15 feet tall. Floor to ceiling, mahogany bookshelves full of tomes and volumes of all these writings and books and literature that just leather bound, gold gilded, right? Maybe some with some vellum, that animal skin paper. Maybe a fancy book sitting on a podium open to a special page. The globe that you open it up and it's got the liquor in it, the big globe with all that liquor in it. The leather chairs, kind of like this one, but much nicer, that would just hug you and you sit in it, and it's just you just feel dude, right? And you regale stories of your experiences of conquering mountains and slaying dragons, facing down a rhinoceros or a bull elephant, just you, and you take it out and it slides right to your feet and you stand there. Those stories. And you just smell that stillness in the room. I get that experience. That's the thought that comes to my head with this cigar. Oh, to be in that room and listening to those stories. Smoking fine cigars, drinking great bourbons and whiskeys. Oh, man. It's amazing how I rolled up a bunch of dried up leaves. It can give us moments of peace, moments of pause, moments of introspection, give us stories. Just lubricates the emotions, lubricates the mind. And just allows you to be. And it's a great leveler of people, because it doesn't matter if you're a millionaire or if you're a guy who's living paycheck to paycheck working in a car mill. When you sit down, It's not about any of that. It's about the moment of the smoke and the brotherhood or the sisterhood. You can celebrate, you can grieve, you can take a pause, you can take a peace, you can come together, you can encourage other people, you can meet new friends. Such a great thing. Such a great thing. So, I highly recommend you get one. I highly recommend you try one. You deserve something high on the hog. And when you go high on the hog, this is one of the cigars I would grab first and foremost. The Sin Compromiso Paladin de Saca. That's it. I'm going to go. I got a podcast to do. I'll see you later. Steve Saki, you're doing a great job. Man, I love y'all. I really do. Later, Tater.